So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And I just want to address some rumors. No, I haven't been thrown out of the house. I haven't lost my job. Nothing like that has happened. I did warn you that the transfer season was going to be when I kicked into action. And I've been putting in an awful lot of effort to have some stuff ready. And it's great then when I get to have podcast, get to have other podcasts when Paddy gets to come back on, because I can shut up and I don't have to do as much talking then. Paddy, how are you keeping?
I'm good, and I won't be one bit surprised if we don't shut up in this one either.
I know this one. I'll get into it. Like I
think I get more excited about this kind of stuff than you do. In fairness,
yeah. And I'm just because I have what I feel is a reason. Like I have a specific reason why I don't, and we'll get into it in a moment. But we are going to talk about the fixture list that was released today. And it's a bloody weird one, Paddy. Like, it's mad to see that chunk of time where there's fuck all happening, excuse my French, but for the World Cup in such an obscure and odd time of the year. And then to have nothing from the 26th to the 31st of December as well. That just means to me, I let you off on it, Paddy, on what that means, but that to me means that somebody or some people have gotten their way within the FA. By lobbying the FA from the Premier League teams. But what's your views? And I suppose before we go into the whole specific games and the way the games are laid out, but it's weird. It's going to fuck the whole year up, I think, for everybody. And the more I look at it, the more I get annoyed about it.
Well, it is. It's just another disjointed season, and we just got out of, hopefully, touch wood, all out of everything COVID related and everything. So hopefully settling down perfectly going into this new season. We'll have a good pre-season. Looking forward to it. The new fixture list for me always feels like a new dawn. You know, it really does. It's just a fresh start. You're looking at fixtures, the new fixtures. Even like the first day is a new one. Bournemouth back in the Premier League, but you've got that big gap now. I'm a little bit selfish in the fact that big gap doesn't really annoy me. And the reason for that is I don't normally travel in that time, because that's the time where you get lots of problems with flights and frost and delays, and you end up going on day trips and missing matches and stuff like that. So I just don't generally go in December. So from a selfish point of view, that's fine with me. I can also understand the break at Christmas, because if you're going to bring guys who are fresh off a World Cup back to play games, and then you've got guys who are out for 5 or 6 weeks, then to go and play 3 major games, high octane games, in the cold at Christmas without the well, I'm sure they're going to be training, but I'm sure there's some kind of science behind the fact that they've left out that little break, and a little bit of bullying, I would imagine, from some of the clubs up the top end of the table. And we saw it last year. We saw people complain about it, and we won't name any names, but we definitely saw them complain about it. But all I can say is it's good to be back. It's going to be a strange season. We're looking at the 5th of June for an FA Cup final, which is unheard of, I think. So We've a lot to look forward to. I think most of a couple of rounds of the FA Cup are going to be at the weekend. I think every other cup game is going to be near enough midweek after that. So hopefully we don't get too many cancellations along the way. But I'm looking forward to the season beginning.
Yeah, I think, and sorry to be Debbie Downer again, but I think that they've left themselves very little wiggle room. If you know what I mean. And I think that there's going to be a situation where we're going to be talking about this later on in the season, and we're going to be saying, lads, we've got, like, there could be teams like this year. Burnley, it didn't work out for Burnley because they went down, or like ourselves, where we had something like, what was it, 3 games in 8 days or 3 games in 9 days or something. And yeah, people say if you get into Europe and you be playing those games anyway, that's not the point. If games are going to be moved, if games are going to be changed, if games are going to clash with cup games and stuff like that, we're going to have that farcical nature whereby we're coming to the end of the season. We've played Burnley twice in 3 weeks, like we did this season. That to me it should be avoidable. There's enough money goes into this, and then when they just take a week's break between, and I understand why they're doing it, but me as a fan is having a rant here now, as opposed to me, Neil, looking after player welfare. And like, it doesn't butter my parsnips to have no soccer between the 26th of December and the 31st of December. Like, that's, for me, that's prime. Get fat, sit in the couch and watch people be energetic.
Yeah, well,
I certainly don't have to be energetic.
You've got to look at it another way for that week as well. It says the 26th, the same way it says the 6th of August is going to be the first match, but it won't. It could be the 4th. It could be the 5th. It could be the 6th. It goes either side of it. So I would imagine that first round of games, we're going to see games on the 26th, games on the 27th, games on the 28th. And then you're going to see games on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd to spread them out that way. That's what I envisage happen on those. So you will actually, with the exception of maybe 29, 30, 31st of December, I still think we'll see matches.
That's true. And I suppose,
but you're right. It is the time of year where everybody loves to enjoy football. Difficult for us to get to games because people are traveling home for matches or for Christmas and stuff like that. So flights are expensive and stuff like that. So it was kind of annoying to see that Liverpool game pressed in there on that peak time for travel. But as I said, that could be the 27 or 28. So it might get there anyway, but we'll see.
Let's take a look at the actual fixture list. I think you guys should be able to see it there now. I'll just try and focus this in a small bit more. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we've got in August, obviously, the first 5 games that we start with are Bournemouth, Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Arsenal in the formation with regards to away, home, away, home, away. It's actually for the first 2 months we're pretty much alternating away, home, away, home, away, home, away, home, and I kind of like that. I think from a planning point of view that's nice to have, because if I'm not mistaken, it could have been because of a lot of cancellations last season. We went on a run of away games in a row, and that's never good, specifically at the end of the season. And I know that Sky are going to get their hands on this as well, and it's going to be turned upside down. And I kind of debated whether I would bother even doing the Premier League fixture list because of that fact, because the two facts, Sky, and the second one is 2 of us are going to start looking in bits and pieces here about what games we could potentially win and things like that, and we've no idea what way the squads are going to be for these teams, and that's why I don't really get excited for the Premier League fixture list now. I'll get excited about it in 3 weeks' time or 4 weeks' time when teams are back training, they're back well into their off-season program, and we get to see who teams have signed. But Paddy, those first 5 games that we have there, Bournemouth, Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Arsenal, I think that's not a bad start.
I think it's a very good start. I'm more than happy to play Bournemouth first match of the season. If you remember, we played them 2015, 2016 in that first game. Rudy Gestede scored. Don't recall him scoring another goal after that, but he did score that day. It's the only one that I remember. I'm sure he did get a few. The one thing that does worry me a little bit, that was the year we went down. So it's we sure be hoping that we're not worrying about that come the end of May. But yes, we know what we're getting with Everton. They will spend a few quid, but I still envisage that we should be able to get 3 points there. Palace will probably spend a few quid as well. West Ham, aging team, struggled a bit towards the end of last season, just kind of limped over the line, and then our old foe Arsenal, which you just don't know what you're going to get. So, I think if you were to handpick 5 games, you're always going to have one of the big or greedy 6 in there, and I think that's not bad considering we go into Man City in September. So there's a good opportunity to get points on the board, and I genuinely do think they will. But as you say, a lot can happen between now and the 6th of August, both from us bringing in more talent and then again the other guys spending money.
Sorry there, if anybody was looking at me going, he's been very ignorant, he's not paying any attention to Paddy. I was definitely listening to him, but something scared the living daylights out of me. My dog scared the living daylights out of me. He had snuffled himself in underneath a jumper I had thrown on the ground here behind me, and I couldn't see him at all. He was in underneath it. I was there, what the hell is inside my room? Because my door is open here. I was just looking around to make sure that there wasn't some sort of wildebeest or untamed wildlife inside my office. So I do apologize, but I agree with you with regards to the first 5 games that we have there, and I specifically agree with West Ham. And at this moment in time when we're doing this podcast, all liable to change. You mentioned an aging team, and I think there needs to be open heart surgery on their back four. And if it doesn't happen this season, it'll definitely need to happen next season. Also, they've lost somebody like Mark Noble. Yes, they've got 2 of the better midfielders in the league in Rice and Souček. You know, injuries are only a short stone's throw away from one of those being out and breaking up that partnership. And then they've only one recognised striker, Mikel Antonio. And I think West Ham have work to do. I think they've work to do in the transfer market.
And to be fair, I do believe if the right money came in for Rice, they would cash in, because I think that gives them an opportunity to go and rebuild that team.
Yeah, I agree as well. And I think that David Moyes is probably looking at that at the team and going, yeah, I do need to rebuild here, because they will drop the hammer on David Moyes. There'll be no empathy towards him or no connection towards him. They did it before. They dropped the hammer on him previously. They will drop the hammer on him too. So I actually think he's going to need to lobby for money within that, because within the structure of West Ham, because we know there are 2 erratic people over West Ham. Am I right in saying that Sullivan and Gold? Well, definitely Gold is still there. I don't know if Sullivan is there. I think Sullivan quit.
They are both still there, yeah.
Well, then but Sullivan is bankrolling your man who's buying the Tim Park Club over the other side of Birmingham. He's bankrolling that fella who is just I'm saying amazing, but amazing in a really bad way person. It seems to be like I'm yet to read anything positive about that guy. Like how he's going to pass a fit and proper person's test, I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. But so I think West Ham have something to work on. Arsenal, I think, are going to be. I think once again, Arsenal have to do open heart surgery on their strike force this season. Arguably, we do too, but I don't think we will do it. But Arsenal have to find goals from somewhere. They have to buy a big name striker, and they're being linked with another nice midfielder again today, a 22-year-old Vieira from Porto, really nice player. But for me, they've got midfielders who can do all that nice stuff now, finally, and I think they need a striker. But anyway, we're discussing other teams as we go through here. I think August is a nice month for us. September not so nice with Man City, Leicester, and Southampton. Although Leicester are another team as well that are in search of a striker too. Jamie Vardy is beginning to show his age. Their back four is beginning to creak like it did last season as well. Once again, there's question marks there. Southampton are always only 1 game away from a 9-0 loss. So this is the beauty of the Premier League. We can be as optimistic as we want. And here was me saying beforehand that I was going to be a bit down on this whole thing. But then the positivity just ropes me back in again. The positivity about what could be. But I think sorry, go ahead, Paddy.
Yeah, but if you look across the fixtures, we have no real run of games where you're going, we're not going to win anything in the next 3 games. If you look at October, with the exception of Chelsea, you'd be looking at getting something out of every game in October. And bear in mind, there's 6 games. The way the fixtures fall.
It. That's what I was saying. And I genuinely think if we grow our squad, if we got on 3 or 4 players through the door, depending, we can only look after what we can look after ourselves. That month looks good. Like that month looks like a month we should target.
Yeah. And I suppose our worst month is December. We've only got 2 games, and
as always.
it's probably the one that we're least likely to get games out of or get points out of, and that's probably a tough enough run to go from Liverpool to Spurs to go into Wolves then on whatever that falls, New Year's Day or the day after. But there's not a whole pile to worry about until the last month of the season, where you play Man U, Tottenham, Liverpool in the last 6. That's probably as tough of a run as we get with regard spacing it over 5 or 6 games, I think.
Yeah, and we'll be qualified for Europe at that stage. So
well, that's hope we do. We'll take the foot off the gas, and
Old Trafford and Anfield away in the last 5 games of the season. We would, we'd need to be qualified for Europe at that stage if Europe is the goal, and hopefully it absolutely is as well. Paddy, everybody looks down through the list, and I know that you and we've been discussing this in WhatsApp, but we've been putting little check marks beside and going, yeah, for love nor money, I am definitely going to be there. I'm going to be at this game. I'm going to be at this game. What games have you ticked off? And I'm not going to hold you to this, but like, what are the games that are non-negotiable? You're going to be there, provided that you don't drop dead between now and then, and God willing that nobody does.
Well, having a bit of a panic attack because I've already booked my flights for Everton, but it appears there's a knock-on effect from the Commonwealth Games, and the price of hotels is astronomical. So going to have to rejig my plans there, I think. There's a number of ones I'd like to do. Obviously, around my birthday is always the one that I go to, so that's Bournemouth at home. As much as that doesn't mean anything to anybody, Liverpool at home would have been one that you look for, and yeah, I'm definitely going to that. It's just a tough time of year. And then the 2 Man City fixtures, because my family are Man City fans. I will go to the Etihad, God willing, on the 11th of February with my father probably. So like there's a number of them there, and I'm just glad they're spread out a little bit. So there's not a number of them together, with the exception of that last month where there's Tottenham at home, Liverpool away, and Brighton at home. You always want to go to the last game of the season, but you'd want to go to the 3 of them if you could. But these things are not always possible.
Well, I've no real grat to see Liverpool Villa for the time being. I want the gap to close a small bit before I go to that. And it would be nice to see players like Salah. You're not going to probably see Mane, and Darwin Núñez is there now, So for me, I have my sights set on games where I can go and not drink my sorrows away, but celebrate with the party poppers afterwards, maybe after a 2 or 3-0 win. And I've earmarked. I've a couple of games earmarked. I am definitely going to look to go to Southampton at home on the 17th of September. I'm then going to try and get in Leeds away. I want to go to Leeds away. One of my mates texted me this morning. He's a big Leeds fan. He said, "Neil, will you come to the Leeds game with me? I'd love for you to come." I went, "Yeah." Do you know what? Put me down as a 70% attendance for that one for sure. I'd like to do that, but it's going to be one or the other there between Southampton at home or Leeds away. But if I don't go to Southampton at home, I'll probably look to go. I'll probably fit something else in later on in the year. But big one I'm looking forward to is Newcastle at home. I just want to go to Newcastle at home. I want to see the Geordie fans come to Villa Park. I want to find out, is it an actual rivalry when we're in the stadium? What kind of reception that happens there? We could be seeing a really different Newcastle team come through the door of Villa Park that day as well. Also, it's in and around my birthday. So that's definitely a game I've earmarked. And Brighton away. Or Brighton at home, should I say, May the 28th is one that I am clamoring to get to as well. So they're just ones that I've just ticked off my list so far.
I suppose the disappointing ones is there's only 3 games midweek. 2 of them are home and away to Fulham, which I would have loved to go and bring my son to Fulham away. And Fulham Arsenal away is on a Tuesday night, which is unfortunate. So chances are I won't get to that one either.
Well, wait till Sky change it around, Paddy.
Well, they're not going to change it far off a Tuesday night. It might be a Wednesday night.
Yeah. Well, no, what I'm saying is Saturday games and Sunday games might be moved to midweek and so on,
Yeah.
depending, and who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
I think we're going to park the fixture list stuff there for a moment, Paddy.
Just
I'm reading a
before
bit.
you do, Neil, added a question there. When they
That's what I
plan.
was going to ask.
Okay, so the first one is on the 9th of August. So that's very early in the season, just like last year when we went to Barrow. So they knock out the early rounds very quickly with the League Cup, and then space out into quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. The final is still late February, like it normally is. So there's no real change there. The FA Cup ones that you've got the first 2 rounds on the weekends, and then you've got nearly every other game is midweek. So that'll be the interesting one to work out. Again, no replays. So I don't think we'll ever get back to normal of having FA Cup replays, and they missed them. It's great. It's great to see a draw and then be able to watch a game, another game midweek that you wouldn't normally get, especially when you're watching from afar and watching on the telly. So that's a disappointment that's not going to be the case as well.
Was there an echo, guys? I'm just looking in the chat room there. Did the audio go mad there for a while? I don't know. Was there repeating audio?
Maybe Soupy Mark is suggesting that all the podcasters are talking about this today.
Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know. But we are going to talk a small bit about transfer stuff, Paddy. I've been flattening the mat here in the lab, working up stat sheets and stuff like that for players, and we've got loads more to come. Just players I like really as well. But we've been linked with players like Conor Gallagher recently, Paddy. Talk to me about Conor Gallagher. I did a podcast on him. If people haven't watched it yet, I would advise you to go and take a look at it. I did quite a big deep dive into his statistical numbers and how similar he is to some of the players we have at the moment. But Paddy, what would you do with somebody like Conor Gallagher? Is the juice worth the squeeze based on what you've seen of him?
Well, where me and you differ is you're a stats man and I'm purely football, and that probably is not going to change anytime soon. When I look at Conor Gallagher as a footballer, I think he's great. You know, I really like him. I'd sign him in a heartbeat. And then I looked at your video the other day, and I'm going, yeah, they're not. The stats aren't what I thought they would be. But then you got to look at the fact that, you know, what would he be like with great players around him, and so. That the long-winded answer to your question is yes, I would take him in a heartbeat.
I think I tried to get it across in the podcast, and I'm not sure, I can't remember what I said now, but you do have to do both. You have to watch the player, and then you have to take the stats. For me, that's what you got to do, because your eyes can lie to you and the numbers can lie to you as well. The other thing that I want to throw out is it bad that he's the same or similar to some of the midfielders that we have already? Is that a bad thing? And the reason that I ask is maybe the fact that our midfield was lacking that anchor at number 6, and now we have it in Boubacar Kamara, and that's why I was lobbying for somebody like a Guido Rodriguez maybe to come in as well. But bringing somebody who's similar to the players that we have doesn't disrupt the way that we play. Also allows us to bring on fresh legs that can do the same things. So, like, we lose a Jacob Ramsey, we lose all our carrying ability, all our ability to carry the ball. That's what we do. It's gone. Literally, it's gone. That's it. We've no one to carry the ball. We might have a John McGinn. John McGinn might be unleashed or something like he is for Scotland. Who knows? But based on all evidence since Stephen Gerrard has come in, we don't have anybody there. So if you bring in a Conor Gallagher, and the two of them are playing in the team, and you're bringing the ball forward from similar positions, from opposite sides, but in a similar manner, I don't think that's a bad thing. So sometimes when you're looking at the statistics and you're trying to baby out with bathwater as well, you know, how does that player fit in for what he does? I think it's very, very important to look at as well. And you know, from a Conor Gallagher point of view, the big thing that kills me with Conor Gallagher is the price. Like, whoa, you're not going to get him for a bag of chips. Like, you know, he's like, Chelsea are going to look for mega money for him now that he's an England international. And once again, just like with the Basuma's gone to Spurs for 26 million. When we were being linked to him for 50 million, I was saying, I wouldn't touch him for 50 million. It's just not the right money. And I'm not sure that the money is going to match up for Conor Gallagher. And that's the thing for me. That's and I know it's not my money and all that. I completely understand that. But there are other players out there who can do probably better than Conor Gallagher, fit into this team as well and pay less money. And that's what Johan Lange, that's what Rob McKenzie are tasked with finding.
Don't ever use the phrase "it's not your money" when it comes to your club, because it is your money. It does dictate where we are in the future.
That's true.
So for that reason, I never like to see clubs breaking the bank. But what is breaking the bank? We don't know at this stage. There's just absolutely crazy figures being bandied about for average players. So I just don't know what a good price is anymore. I listen to you almost apologizing for the prices that were on transfer market.
Yeah.
They don't look right, but they're probably using their best estimate to say what a player is worth. And we know you're going to pay over the odds. It's just supply and demand. If you need a player in a certain position, you're going to pay for him, and that's it.
Yeah, and Rex makes a very good point here as well. And this is like Chelsea do a great job of cashing in on their loan players, as are Man City. We're seeing that now with Man City. Gavin Bazunu is moving to Southampton for 16 million. That's great business for Southampton. For anybody who doesn't know Gavin Bazunu, third choice goalkeeper at Man City. The boy is brilliant in goals. Like, he's just a really good goalkeeper. And he's only, 20? He's still under 21. He's a really good goalkeeper. And Southampton have struck early on that one because, I think that I think that he'd probably be their number one goalkeeper in the Premier League next season. Gavin Bazunu.
We absolutely will. But before you move on from that, the Chelsea and Man City situation, when you've got players out on loan, those rules are changing at the end of this season.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a little bit of panic from Chelsea and Man City to try and get players off the books that are out on loan that have no hope of getting into their first team squad. So for that reason, you might get a little bit of value, not only off those two teams. There's other teams out there that will be looking to offload.
And that's true. And Ad makes a good point as well. You do pay the England international tax as well on somebody like Conor Gallagher, and that is quite a hefty tax to pay. Because, as I say, there are players out there who can do like you look. I'm just going to pluck a name out of the top of my head, like Konrad Leimer for RB Leipzig. He might cost you 20 million, whereas Conor Gallagher might cost you 35 million. And Konrad Leimer probably is a better midfielder, but then again, he's 25. Then Conor Gallagher is at this moment in time, but you're also buying potential with Conor Gallagher. So, when you talk about money, it's really like everybody is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for them, I suppose, at the end of the day. And that's a really old, often tried out phrase, but it is really true, in what you're willing to accept and what somebody's willing to pay as well.
Liam asked there what the rule.
Yes, what is the rule change? Yeah. I was going to ask that question. What is the rule change? Have I completely missed that?
So I'll have to look into it again because it happened some time ago, but there's a limit now to the amount of players you're going to be able to have out on loan. So just that will reduce the size of the squad, thus stopping the bigger clubs hoovering up all the talent, and that's the reason it's been brought in. So where Chelsea can come in and have 15, 20 players out on loan, I think that's reduced to either 10 or less come the end of the season. I'll have to read up on it again, but someone tried to explain it to me the other day and they had forgotten about it as well, what the actual figure was. But as far as I know, that comes into play at the end of this season.
Let's talk a little bit about Bissouma, because some people feel that we've lost out on him. Like Spurs have swooped in there and got him for half nothing, like 26 million. Like I would have said maybe 36 to 40 would have been my ceiling for him. 50 I thought was always too much for him. I just don't think he affects the game in the attacking sense enough. But 26, like I don't think anybody would have any qualms based on the player and not the allegations and all that jazz. Completely understand, but based on Yves Bissouma, what we've seen him do within the white lines on the football field, like 26 million is just Spurs out and out. Just great value.
Well, it is Spurs out and out. I think I said to you in our group chat that it's a typical Spurs thing to do. They're chasing the ambulance like they did with Jack Grealish a few years ago. So they know there's something hanging over this transfer. So they got him at the right price and they took him, and that's what Spurs do. So from their point of view, I hope everything works out all right. But it was a risk worth taking, maybe.
The thing that terrifies me is that now the Basuma's coming in there, players like Harry Winks are going to be available. And when around January time, Harry Winks was mentioned at Aston Villa, and I don't want Harry Winks, anywhere near our club. Like, I just don't think he's very good. That's why Freudian slip there. Maybe it was intentional. I'm not 100% sure, but it was like I just don't think he's very good. I think he's a one-trick pony. I think he is a possession keeper, but I think that I don't even think Spurs fans really rate him that highly anymore. But somebody I would take if they were willing to listen to offers for is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who Spurs fans don't like at all. But he's just like I've rarely seen him play a really bad game of football. And he's a big, tall presence that comes in, suits my want to have another person who can drift back into that sixth position if needed. And Pierre-Emile Højbjerg would be very good. But
that's
I think Bissouma.
Yeah. Every time I've seen him on the telly or in the flesh, he's really impressed me. He's just a cracking player.
Yeah. Well, so we're linked with other people. I've got a piece on Stefan de Vrij, the centre half. I've had it for a couple of weeks. I've been sitting on it for a while because I just never thought that it would happen. And then we were spuriously linked again recently. I can't remember who it was. Might have been, well, spurious is probably the wrong word to use, but the mail linked us to Stefan de Vrij again. So I might pop that out. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, big style, with this next name that I'm going to throw out to you, Paddy. But I want your opinion on the one, the only, the triple-barreled the double-barreled Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Go.
Do you want the long-winded version or the short version?
I want your opinion, Paddy. Long or short, it's all good with me.
He divides opinion. And my opinion is, if we get him at the right money, he will be a valuable option to have in there for us. But I don't realistically see us getting him at the right money. I think we'll pay a lot more than we should pay for a player at that age, and that worries me a little bit. What's he got, a year left in his contract, is it?
He's only 28. Yeah. He's not even 29 yet. Blows my mind every time I look at his age.
He just seems to be around forever. Like, he was playing for Southampton when he was 16. So he's 13 or 14 years on the scene. Yeah. So look, it's one I wouldn't mind having, but only at the right price.
Did I lose you or did you lose me?
No, I think I lost you. I think you just shocked my short answer.
No, I think it's yeah, look, what I'm going to say is I'm not going to say anything on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Tune into the channel tomorrow and you'll find out my views on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in a segment that we like to call Transfer Links. So I will be doing a piece on him tomorrow. I've been looking into him today, and he's a really interesting study for what he, like, we talked about same players. We talked about players being the same as we have already. If you want somebody who can come in and maybe change it up and have a different skill set based on what you can see on the field and based on the stats, tune in to see about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Don't shoot the messenger tomorrow. When I put this one out. Who else, Paddy? Have we been linked to anyone? Bale.
I'll cut you off and I'll answer this one. I just cannot see us having him and Coutinho on the books with the wages they command. And, I think it'd be worth taking the risk on it if we could afford his wages. But it's just something I can't see happening for that reason. Bearing in mind that he's often injured as well. So it's a big risk to take. And, I really don't see... I can't put my finger on who would take that risk. I could see a Man United maybe taking that risk, but nobody else. Nobody. I don't envisage a Liverpool or a Man City or Spurs. No. Even I just can't see that happening.
The only team I can see that risk. West Ham United take that risk. David Gold and David Sullivan will take that risk all day long. And he'll end up scoring 18 to 20 goals for them because just something like that will happen. but he goes back to London as well if he goes to
I'm
West
not. I'm
Ham.
not sure that would be a viable option with their wage structure. They don't spend an awful lot of money on wages, which is why I can see Rice moving on. But
And
look, he would be a perfect fit for them. He absolutely would. And if he stays fit, he'd be a perfect fit for us. But I just think there's absolutely no way we're paying his wages. Not with Coutinho on the books.
have we been? I don't think we've been linked to anybody else really. I still haven't put out the Quinton Merlin one podcast. Jesus Christ, I've put out a podcast on 15 other people, but not anything Quinton Merlin. Yes, actually, Biff mentions here seems to have gone very quiet on a transfer chatter. Usually Villa are linked to everyone. And yeah, Liam Meredith comes in afterwards and says that Gerrard's on holidays. I think he's back now, or he is back next week or something.
There was another question in there wondering when the players were back.
Mm-hmm.
So, to the best of my knowledge, the players that aren't or weren't on international duty are back in the building at the end of next week. So they'll be back for all the fat testing and seeing had they been looking after themselves. And I think they resume full training shortly after, maybe the middle of the following week, with the international players arriving 10 days after that. That's the timelines, I think. So I think there's some kind of ruling that I think the players have to get 4 weeks holidays. So the likes of John McGinn, who just finished during the week, and everybody else that was on international duty.
I don't think it's 4. I'm not sure it's 4, but there is some sort of ruling for the amount of... Because I thought they were going to be back before the Australia trip.
Well, they will be.
But is the Australia trip not like the 10th of July or the...
Is it? Jesus. Well,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It's still near enough be 4 weeks. Well, we'll see. But that's the general timelines of what I can remember is going to happen. But the best of my knowledge, Gerrard is back in the next day or two.
Yeah, and I think we'll see stuff maybe ramp up then. And it's not beyond there is a possibility we've got the majority of our business done now, and we can wait. We can wait out bits and pieces between now and before we go to Australia, and maybe.
Well, I think the most important thing now is to get players out, get players off the payroll. You know, we have the outward links have been there. We've been talking about Trezeguet. There was a link to Bertie going today. So players like that on the periphery, or somebody else asked in the comments there, is there a big one on the way out? Is there a regular starter on the way out? That could happen too, depending on what the money is like, and if Gerrard sees he can replace them. So I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But I would not rule out the likes of I'm just picking a name here, a Watkins or a Mings being sold, or I don't envisage anybody else. But they're just the two names that are in my head.
I think if Jose comes in with 35 million for Douglas Luiz, I think it's very, very. I think it's entertained.
I just can't see him going there.
We've texted about this. You can't see him living life under Jose. That's a you can't see. I think you can. So I just popped in here that Dan Bardell reckons we're aiming ambitiously for number 8. I actually think so too, and I think we'll see maybe 2 more midfielders come in to pad out that, because when you take out the likes of Sanson and potentially another midfielder leaving, I think we need them. Like, I don't expect Tim Irugunu to be around the place. I expect Carney to be there, but if you want to pad out that and not pad it out, but I suppose create real quality in that area, you're going to need to bring it in at least 1 more, if not 2 more. So and I think we don't sign a big striker. That's why when in my scouting series I've been looking at players like the guy I looked at today from Strasbourg, Habib Diallo, a guy who came off the bench for Strasbourg, had a massive season really for the games that he played. He scored 11 goals. He only started 16 games, came off the bench in 15 more, had an unbelievable scoring frequency rate. Watch that. If you guys have nothing to do tomorrow, watch that. It's one that I really enjoyed. And I think that we probably need another striker if Cameron Archer is sent out on loan, or even if he isn't sent out on loan. I think we probably need 4 strikers. So somebody like that might come in, but I don't think we're going to get a blockbuster striker. And I think that the money will be invested into midfield, and I think that's rightly so, because I think it should be invested in midfield. Wesley, I think the situation with him, Paddy, is you see there, Biff has put up what Wesley. I think the onus is on Internacional to find somebody else to basically take over his loan contract now, because they signed him on a 2-year loan.
So we're not likely to see him back there for pre-season training, and to be honest, we're not likely to see him back at all, based on the truncated season that he's had, and he's just been a disaster for him. So I feel sorry for him. Just when it was coming together, he got that nasty injury, and now he's in a bit of limbo. I'd love to see him get back to being on the periphery again, but what can you do?
Yeah, it just hasn't worked for him. Hasn't worked for him since he came.
Never know. He might go down to Norwich, and Dean Smith might give him a chance down there.
And I think he should. I think he should stay close to the club. I don't think going back to Club Brugge was a smart decision. It just didn't work out for him. You know, when he went back there for a period of time, I think he's staying close to the club, staying within England, staying within English football. It would be good for him, because like Villa aren't going to shift him anytime soon for anything half decent, and I don't think they want to make a massive loss in him either. Obviously, they will make a loss, but I think they want to be able to recoup him. But you go to anybody and try and send him for 5 million now, everybody's slamming the door in your face. He needs to rebuild his career, and I think going on loan to somebody like a Dean Smith might not be a bad choice. Not be a bad choice at all. He could destroy the championship if he got fit and got a good run of games.
I think he could, and I think it'd be the making of him. He needs a move like that where he's going to score goals and scare the opposition. Look what it did for Keenan Davis. Yeah. We'd probably consider them similar type players, but it's the biggest move that Wesley will make, and it's the biggest move that we can find for him now, because he needs game time. He needs to stay fit. He needs to stay healthy, and he needs a bag of goals, because we're not getting that 25 million back anytime soon, unless he actually tears it up in the next one.
We're not getting it back. I don't think anytime soon. We're just not getting it back unless he comes back and plays his heart out for Aston Villa. We're not getting it back.
Plus, he's 25 now. You know.
Oh God, he's ancient. Jesus,
he's not getting any younger.
Out with the bathwater. Yeah. No. But you're right. Yeah, Father Time is undefeated. You know, he's not getting any younger, and he needs to prove himself. For a guy who's got such an unbelievable backstory about how he got into professional football, he needs to keep that story going. But I think it's him now that needs to keep that story going, as opposed to anybody else doing it for him. And you know, I think the club can help him with his next move, but it's what he does in the field that's going to determine where his future is. Lads and guys and girls and everybody who's watching, it's 10 to 11. I think we're going to leave it there. This was supposed to be a 15-20 minute podcast, and as usual, we're coming up in 42 minutes. Thanks a million to everybody for watching and for listening. Thanks a million to everybody who shared a post I put up on Twitter today as well, asking to see if you could spread us far and wide to try and get us over the 3,000 YouTube subscribers. We're climbing every day. I don't know why 3,000 just sounds like it's a really nice even number for us to hit, and hopefully we do hit it in the next few days, but I appreciate all of your help with that. The scouting series will be coming back again tomorrow. I'm going to keep pumping out podcasts almost every day for the next, I think I've got podcasts I could line up to put out for every day for the next 20-25 days. If I think is what I have in the hopper at the moment, and that's without anything breaking. So if you guys are ever stuck for any Villa content, just turn on for the Love of Paul McGrath podcast channel, and you'll probably find something there for sure that you haven't seen before. And as I say, I love it, so I'm going to continue doing it as best I can. But thanks so much for all the support and all the lovely messages. I know I've said it in one of the podcasts previously as well. And you know, we're not asking. If you guys are really interested in this stuff, you're interested in the scouting series and things like that. Anything that I don't use in the off season, I will be putting up on our Patreon channel as well. If you're interested in that, you can check that out there on Patreon. But as I say, that there will be lots and lots of stuff going up there during the course of the season as well, because I want to continue on the scouting series stuff, because I've really enjoyed it more so than anything else. But thanks so much everybody for your support. Thanks a million, Paddy, for dropping on. I'll be back again tomorrow with some more podcasts, and in the meantime, actually, before I go anywhere, everybody hold your horses. You're not allowed to go anywhere, because I have been asked to do. Jesus, I would have been shot. Guys, on the 18th of June, Boldmere St. Michael's have a charity football match auctions. I'll start this again. On the 18th of June, Boldmere St. Michael's, there's a charity football match. There's an auction, and you can get photographs of football legends. And there's also a great raffle. It's for a fantastic cause. It's John Robson's son is organizing a charity match for multiple sclerosis, and Kieran O'Callaghan asked me to give a shout out on that. I've shared it as well on Twitter if you guys can check it out. It seems like it's going to be a really, really great day down at Boldmere St. Michael's. And 18th of June, it's what date is that? That's Saturday. Might be a nice day out for everybody in the family. So check it out. It's for a great cause for multiple sclerosis. And if anybody's there, I'd like them to report back on the day that they had there. So great cause. Get down there and support it as well. But everybody, get to bed, stay safe, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.